Welcome to Bowtie, sometimes called myself Ashley and Ed. Good evening, Ed.
Good evening, Ash. How are you?
Very good, very good. And well, as always, every week, tired. But
Yes.
I don't think people are getting fed up of hearing that. So, yeah, I'm great. I'm on top of the world. So, this week, Edward, we are going to be chatting about Steptoe and Son. I wanted to do this one because like a lot of comedy heroes from back in the day, not everything is what it seems. They seem quite tortured souls quite often, these people. They've got big backstories that you don't know anything about. And so I thought we'd cover off a little bit about them.
Yeah, that sounds really, really interesting. It's not one of my favourite sitcoms. My wife loves it, but like you said, the backstory is almost sometimes more interesting than the program.
Well, yeah, so I mean, this came about because Galton and Simpson were writing some stories. They wrote several of them with the hope that one of them would turn into a TV series. And this one that they wrote one called The Offer, which was basically a pilot, I suppose, if you could say then, of Steptoe and Son. And they got Wilfrid Brambell and Harry H. Corbett, who they never thought they'd get Harry H. Corbett because he was quite, back in the day, quite a thespian, quite a serious actor, and very well thought of. And he doesn't see it like we do, though. We kind of see it as Harry H. Corbett's character being quite comical, and yet Harry H. Corbett saw it as real life, like a portrait of the times, in working class and so on. So he approached it in a very methodical way, although it's ended up being a comedy as well.
That Bramble is fantastic. He really is, and I'm not giving him a plug. I'm telling you that. You see the contact there between us. You see his eyes already. You know what I mean? He's fantastic. That boy, really fantastic. Great to work with.
What did you first think about this part when you read the first script? Did it look easy to you to play?
Yes. Yes. With that ease that comes with, my God, this is brilliance. You see, good work is always easy.
You wanted to play it?
Yes, and you don't have to learn the lines even. They're there. They're right. They're the lines you should say. I mean, look, all that is down to Galton and Simpson. Those words.
Had they written it with you in mind?
No. That's, well, not me, because they didn't know anything about me. They had written, as every good writer writes, they had written a character, you see. And that was it. I fitted in, examined it. Actually, what they had written, I must say, was slightly wrong. I looked at it, and we both learned from each other, in this relationship, Galton Simpson and I, and Brambell, and Duncan Woods, very brilliant director. We, for example, the old man was said, he was 85. I was 70. Now, this is splendid, but it would have been no involvement by the audience, you see, because everybody would have sat back and would have said, look at those two splendid old men. What lovely old men. But when I'd said lines like, I didn't get rickets through overeating, did I? That wouldn't have gone over. They'd have said, what a lovely old man saying that. When a 37, 8-year-old man says that kind of thing, it's getting through to a majority population in a power position of 38. So it stops them just laughing at the images of old men, you see. So I said, no, we must shift the ages down. A few more touches like that, but they're only touches. So then we began this relationship between us of getting the points over. He says, it's rag and bone didn't mean a thing. I wasn't interested in a documentary about rag and bone men. Never have been. I don't give a damn whether the prices are right, wrong, or otherwise. That's dismissed. That's thrown out of the window. It just gives a perfect format and a setup to range and slash all over the place, you see.
I think the thing about Harry H. Corbett, it's the classic. He's trapped as an actor. He's a victim. He's absolutely a victim of his own success. I mean, he probably only. I think I remember sort of either seeing something or seeing a documentary or reading something somewhere that Harry H. Corbett, as he said, was a well respected actor. He was seen as possibly the next Marlon Brando. He was that level of buzz about him, and he took the part because, like you said there, he didn't see it as a comedy part. He saw it as portraying this salt of the earth working class and a like I said, a portrayal of the times and the changing times that we were in. And I don't think any of them envisaged it being the success it was. And then he was trapped by just one more series, just one more series, just one more series. Like you said, I had no idea that he didn't sound like Harold in real life. His real accent wasn't like that. And it was all in the acting. But that's all we see with Harry H. Corbett. You don't think of anything else. You think of Harold Steptoe.
But how typecast did you get? Because we read all the time that actors are typecast and they're out of work for years and they can't do another job.
Yes, that's true. I've been typecast. I wouldn't say I couldn't do another job. I've done several stage plays and various other things, you know. And I even had to get out of the country and go to Australia. You know what I mean?
But were there lots of offers, or did people always want you to play that kind of character? Because you were a straight actor.
Yeah.
You went on to act in comedy as opposed to becoming a comedian.
That's right.
And then suddenly everybody says, oh, well, he's a comedian, let's use him for laughs.
Yes, I'm afraid so.
It is true, isn't it?
And most of them based on a kind of Steptoe type of character. That is in the more popular mediums. That is the more popular mediums, meaning a lot of people see them. In the minority type of things, people still thought of me as an actor and used me, you know.
Yeah. Does that make you annoyed, though? Because, I mean, as I say, we hear of actors and actresses' careers being totally ruined by this.
Yes, I think it does. Make me.
Were you out of work for a while?
No.
Not at all?
No, because I was typecast in a rather, marvellous piece of work. I mean, there's no other word for it. Brilliant. The writers are brilliant. And this is on a level that, and to be snobbish, which is far and above the average kind of soap opera. Now, that's the killer. If you're stuck in the type of soap opera with a mechanical character each week, which means that you don't get a chance to change. You see, the worst thing you can hear from an actor is, my character wouldn't do this. Then he's finished. That means his character is tight and narrow like that.
Yeah.
Now, in the Steptoe, 1 week I will be defending a sort of a socialist principle, and the next week I will be attacking the same socialist principle, because human nature is like that, very contradictory, you know.
How much of you was in that part, for instance, which is why you say you were often asked to play that? How much of you was the son?
Oh, I should think about 25% of my feelings were.
Which 25%? Which part?
Most of it to do with the ladies.
And a bit of the character he portrayed.
But then, you know, moving on to Wilfrid Brambell as well, he was very well-to-do, wasn't he? Very well-to-do. I mean, he sounded absolutely nothing like his character.
Mr. Chief Barker, distinguished guests, that git has made me start. Don't breathe on it, you'll get microbes all over it. He always gets me out. Got patina on it. My trouble is that when I mean something, I can't say it. So all the things that I wrote down on my Christmas present that he gave me have gone for Burton. Incidentally, this is it. You know, all these stuff. So all that I can say is, I don't believe it. Thank you very much, everybody. And I'd like to say thanks to him, too. Because not only is he a terrific chap to work with, but he's almost started to be the son out of the business. Over to you, Harold.
Now, I think I think there's a clip here which I'll probably put in, which is Wilfrid Brambell talking about Harry H. Corbett after he died.
A nice guy, and we did work well together, despite the fact that we only met when we were working, because we lived different lives and miles apart. I, as you know, have a 2-room flat. He had a large farm with a wife, 2 kids, dogs, cats, and a mother-in-law.
And you were sort of saying that, you know, they were, in one sense, poles apart, but they worked. Harry H. Corbett had a family, had a farm, I think, from what I remember, and yet Wilfrid Brambell was single and living alone and very prim and proper. Unfortunately, because of the time when it was back in the day, you know, whilst he was gay, then, you know, that was a big issue then, you know, which is ridiculous, but that is what it is, and that's what it was at the time, isn't it? You know, so I mean, he got in trouble with the police Wilfrid Brambell for he was arrested, wasn't he, and charged, and
It's one of those things that's, as you said, it's looking at it with today's eyes. It's like, why was it ever a crime? But it was the times, and people weren't allowed to be who they were, unfortunately.
yeah, absolutely. Now, maybe you might know this, Ed, or you might not. It's really weird, yeah. I don't get, and I've seen it with Dad's Army as well. So Steptoe and Son and Dad's Army, apart from the TV series, there's also the radio series.
Yeah,
From what I can gather, it's not that they've taken the audio from it.
yeah, they got
the studio.
What they got the original actors in as much as possible, and they recut the script so it'd work as an audio. But I think you've got a lot of them. You've got the visual things which wouldn't work, so they sort of rejig it and rejig some of the script so it works as a
okay.
Works as an audio. You were saying about the radio Dad's Army, so yeah, they re-recorded them to make them work for audio. Unfortunately, James Beck, who played Walker, had passed away by that time, so his part was played by Larry Martin, who was the original caretaker character in Are You Being Served before Arthur English came along.
Well, see.
Don't say you never learn anything when you listen to us.
Absolutely. This might save you in a pub quiz one day. This might be the difference between 2 packets of crisps or 3.
But going back to sort of Steptoe and Son, it's like all the best comedies. It's a tragedy as well, because you've got Harold, who's erudite, intelligent, intellectual. I don't like to bring the class thing in, but sort of almost born into the wrong class. And then he obviously loves his dad, but he absolutely loathes him as well.
Yeah.
And you've got this thing of, you've got his dad all his life has held him back and emotionally blackmailed him to stay and keep him downtrodden, keep him in his place. And I was saying that Spirit of Success of Fools and Horses, I see Del Boy and Rodney's relationship like that as well. So, Rodney's going to go off and do something on his own. Del Boy has to spoil it by saying, but Mum would have wanted this, but Mum would have wanted that. And it's a similar sort of almost love-hate relationship they've got. But I think the tragedy of Harold's character, it's played, there's a lot of pathos to it. There's a lot of, it's a comedy, but there's a lot of really, really sort of emotional, moving moments where you just want to think, just leave, just go. And you think he's going to go, he's going to do well for himself, he's going to get his own life. And then Albert will do something, play some sort of prank, which he probably knows is fake, but he can't risk the fact that his dad might be terminally ill or something. So he sort of holds him back from realizing his potential, and he stays.
You talked about the emotions there. If you've seen, well, I know you will have done. You've seen The Curse of Steptoe, so which is a dramatisation of it with the Jason Isaac, the best
Jason Isaac
was
best one we never had. Yeah.
Best one we never had. But anyway, he basically they do that Galton and Simpson, and they act out the fact that they do this pilot called The Offer, and at the end of The Offer, because Harold feels trapped or he can't leave his dad. I can't remember the exact whys and wherefores, but it ends up with Harry H. Corbett crying, or Harold crying, I should say. And Galton and Simpson were watching it, and they saw that Harry H. Corbett was actually crying actual tears. He wasn't playing the comedy role. He was, for him. We said it about Timothy Dalton really as well. It's just all about the acting. It's so involved in the character, and testament to Harry H. Corbett, and obviously the fact that he took it so seriously, and the way that he saw it. So just sort of echoing and backing up what we said before, really, that he saw it as quite a serious role at the same time, and a record of its time, if you like.
I can't go. I can't get away.
He's actually crying. I'll go and put the kettle on, shall I?
You know what you've got here, don't you?
Make us a nice cup of tea.
You've got a pilot for a whole new series.
There's a lot of reports that they didn't get on, but I think that's disputed now. Actually, I think that was. I don't think there's a definitive on that. Some people say they got on really well. Some people say they didn't.
I think they were just colleagues rather than friends, maybe, and they just happened to work together and did their job, and they were from completely different social circles.
Yeah.
So I don't think they didn't get on. It's just that they came, did the job, and went their separate ways rather than their best buddies after work.
How do you think it's changed over the years?
I don't know, really.
Neither do I. Not really. Different words.
Do you think the relationship between, say, you and Harry, playing Harold, your son, has it changed in any way at all? Have you maintained the same sort of tempo all the way through?
I think we've tried, haven't we?
No, I think what you would say is the outside world has changed. The permissive age has gone further along the line, and we've just adapted with it. That's about all you can say. But our relationship still stays the same. Oh, hey.
Yeah. When you came back, one of the press comments was that the only change that they could notice was that you'd grown sideburns in order to become more trendy and keep up with your left-wing friends.
Hey! Watch it, crotchet. Just because mine are white.
You started off, of course, as two totters. In fact, that's what you still are. Yeah. Although we're seeing less and less, particularly in this new film that you're doing, of you actually totting. How much do you think you've grown away from your original role as totters and developed more as just characters in your own right?
Well, I slightly quarrel with you there. We were never bothered awfully with totting, were we? Or the intricacies. We never even got our prices right half the time. It was
I never knew what one was until I was told.
It was just sort of a loose thing to hang and attack in various directions on. So we were totters who would talk about the common market.
Well, my agent at the time said you're playing a totter, and I thought you meant an accountant.
So we'll play probably a couple of clips, and we'll sign off.
Well, it's a pity he hasn't got any Gatsby gear. Still, never mind. All right, girls, come on in. That is fantastic!
Great!
That's just what we're looking for. Where'd you get that gear?
Oh, there he is. Authentic this is. I've worn it for 40 years.
Yeah, we've got to use it.
How much?
35 quid.
45.
40.
Where do you want me to stand?
Stand over here. Oh, that's great, Grandad, great. Here, Carol, come and stand by the side of him. Yeah, we'll get some Bonnie and Clyde shots. Here, Vicky, Nina, come on, girls, round the back of him. That's great. Oh, great.
Ready? I'm ready.
Oh, no. Get out. We don't need you now. Oh, this is much better. Look at that perfect gear. It goes marvellous with the outfits.
I told you to come in useful. Hey, Bernie, supposing I was to undo me jacket and flash me waistcoat, you could see me shoulder holster.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I'm holding one of them for hostage, see? Come on, you stand in front of me, darling, and I'll put my hand round your waist, and the cops are over there, see? Now, come along, you coppers, come and get me.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, and Vicky can be my model.
Would it be a good idea if I was to get my handkerchief like
Please don't interrupt the work. Come on, make a cup of tea, there's a dear.
That is terrific. Now keep it going. Oh, that's great, Grandad, great. Now bring the shoulder round, Carol. Now lift your arm. Lovely. Oh, this is great.
My idea is what?
Please, come on. And now look scared.
How can they look scared? He's like a wet lettuce. I mean, he's not a godfather. He's a grandfather, not a godfather.
I want to see those pleats. Get the leg over. Oh, this is fantastic.
Oh, that is disgusting. Young children could see that.
Oh, this is great.
You mind? That is for washing plates. Come on, hurry up. We ain't got all night.
You rotten little...
It's cold. How can it be? You've only lost one layer of dirt. Get dressed.
Harold, where's the towel?
It's wet.
Well, how am I going to dry myself then?
Use your handkerchief.
Right, guys, well, that was that. Hope you enjoyed our little chat about Steptoe and Son. I have been Ashley. Ed has been Ed. Right, Ed?
I most certainly have. And good night for me.
And from me. Bye for now.